It's time for our daily dose of Cope. And we have mini Masha Catnip at the news anchor's desk for the Leopards News Network. I'm just going to go right into it. There is a lot of news articles to get to today. This is the story I want to start with. It was posted in the Leopards Ate My Face subreddit. The person that posted this titles it, "Wife's job was rescinded due to spending freeze, but it was definitely an oopsie." So let's look at it. I'm going to make this bigger. John Boschman says, "Attention, please help." And he tags Trump and he tags Ted Cruz. He says, "My wife is a nurse and was recently hired by the VA. Our home is packed up. We have a new home, have spent thousands to move our family from Fort Worth to Waco. Following Trump's hiring freeze executive order, the VA rescinded her job offer. My wife is in tears and inconsolable, and my family is devastated. It has been my wife's dream to work with needy disabled veterans. I'm a disabled vet. Now our family is lost with no clear path of what to do. Her job was to start in 2 weeks, right after we settle in. We are all huge Trump supporters, and I know this was an unintended consequence. I'm sure the veterans medical care professionals were not the targets of this executive order. Please help me get this message to the White House so that the president can fix this error. Veterans need not be affected because of out-of-control government spending elsewhere. Please help retweet this so the real Donald Trump is made aware. We need your help. This was just an oversight. It's definitely an oopsie. He did not mean to take my wife's job because we are all huge Trump supporters. This is an unintended consequence." Man, Persephone, I think these people are delusional. They live in Delulu land, don't they? Now we got this post. This looks like it might be a Facebook post. This person says, "This is my co-defendant, Elio Rosa. Please help spread awareness about his immigration fight. He is exactly the type of immigrant we need." So this man right here, it says, "Pardon January 6er denied permanent residency. Elio Rosa came to the United States and followed all the processes and rules to become, I guess, a citizen. But he actually also stormed the Capitol with the failed insurrectionists. And then he got pardoned, but it looks like he got pardoned, but they didn't clear his whole record." So the person that posted this says, "Someone supported Trump's presidency, was arrested but pardoned. Then someone could not establish permanent residency due to the policies he stormed the Capitol to support. So he went up there, he stormed the Capitol, he now has a record, now he probably has to go." But the person that posted that said that this is the type of immigrant that we need, the type of immigrant that goes out and does illegal stuff. Now, he did get pardoned by another criminal, but I guess that's not enough. Like this person says, "Ha ha." Then they added this caption, "This guy is exactly who the Alien Enemies Act was meant to keep out of the United States. I hope they deport him to El Salvador and he ends up in their Supermax prison." Phoenix Tindler says, "Yep, are you kidding me? Dude's both an illegal immigrant and a January 6th terrorist. Have fun at camp." Then Doju at the bottom says, "This can't be real. Please, someone tell me this isn't real. No, no, no. I refuse to believe anyone is dumb enough to storm the Capitol knowing they're undocumented. My brain can't grasp the level of stupidity needed to think that was a good idea. Yes, I'm in denial. Yes, you are in denial. Yes, people are this dumb. Yes, they are." Now we have an article stemming from a Mark Cuban post. Mark Cuban says a red rule recession is coming soon. So here's the Blue Sky post. He says, "I think there's going to be a red rule recession and soon if all the cuts continue as is. All the firings, canceling of grants and contracts with companies, the closing of offices disproportionately impact small towns, cities, and states. Their finances will be turned upside down. They will be turned upside down because they are welfare states. And many of these people don't understand that they are actually welfare recipients. Many of these small rural places in these red states are in poverty. They get a lot of welfare benefits. They are literally at the bottom of the country. They take more than they give. They're not productive. And a lot of these states are former slave states. And after the people left, after the Great Migration, their states couldn't compete because they didn't have that oppressed labor that had no choices. That's the reason why they're still at the bottom, because they didn't have people that they can oppress. Now they are going to have a wide swath of people, these impoverished people, the elderly, their kids. They're going to have to get out there and pick their own food because the government is snatching away their welfare benefits. All right, so this person named Penn at the top says, since those fascist-loving rural chuckle Fs voted for Krasnov and the oligarchs, I hope they suffer immensely for inflicting these traitors on the country. I will have no sympathy for their self-imposed misery. High five, Penn. Now, Justice Junebug, she's like, hold it. Love the passion, and I know it's hard, and F them, but we need to hold a little empathy for those voters too. They are the result of decades of propaganda on weak and vulnerable minds. No, they are a result of racism and white supremacy. So that's where they are. They really think that they are not getting the poverty, and it's those people over there that are the welfare recipients. No, you're the welfare recipient, and now you're going to feel it when the government pulls all that back, and that's what you voted for, so that's what you deserve. So Ray at the bottom says, they preached for my death for 3 years. I'll have zero empathy for those MFers. You bring hate, you get hate. Something, sowing seeds. That's where I am. I have no empathy for these people. I want them to feel it for 2 to 3 years. I want their stress levels to be up. I want their waistlines to go up 2 to 3 inches because of the cortisol. I want them to feel it stressed every day because they don't know how they're going to pay their bills. That's what I want for these people that voted for this. Howard says, I'm afraid they will be like Boxer the horse in Animal Farm. Napoleon is always right, all the way to the glue factory. And that is probably how it's going to be. They're going to be like these people were on their deathbed during COVID, still saying it was a hoax. It was a hoax. This is just like the flu until they take their last breath. Jarhead says, farmers had their livelihoods taken away during his first term. Didn't matter. They are convinced to vote against their own interests in healthcare, taxes, climate, industry, education for years. It's easier just to check a box marked insanity than it is to admit your whole belief system is wrong. All right, a little bit more from this article. It says, according to USA Facts data, states like Kentucky, Indiana, and Ohio rely heavily on federal funding. Kentucky receives over 30% of its state budget from Washington, Indiana 25.7%, and Ohio 21%. By comparison, California only receives about 14.5%. Most of that funding goes to programs like Medicaid, the Children's Health Insurance Program, public education, infrastructure, and local services. If those funds dry up, everyday services in small towns could collapse. There's a real question over whether voters know what the impact of all this could be on their lives, said Ann Whitesell, a political science professor at Miami University. When they see it, though, many of those who voted for Trump are not going to like what they see. They'll try to rationalize it. They'll try to do some mental gymnastics, but this is going to be on them. They're going to blame Elon Musk, though. Now we got this article. It says, Doge says it's cutting nearly $500 million from Kentucky and Indiana health departments. New entries on the Doge website show the agency plans on cutting nearly $500 million from state health departments grants in Kentucky and Indiana. I'm not going to read all these numbers, but it says federal grants worth a lot of money. See, look, all that are slated to be cut from Kentucky State Cabinet for Health and Family Services, and grants worth a lot of money. You can see all of these numbers right here. I'm not going to read all that. Slated to be cut from the Indiana State Department of Health. The websites, the cuts were announced on March 23rd. The website says that over $14 million grant cancellation at the Indiana State Department of Health comes from the U.S. Department of Ag, although the allocation came to the local health department. This grant is one of 2 grants listed with information saying the grant allows state and territory governments to purchase local unprocessed foods from local producers, targeting historically underserved farmers, producers, fishers, and small businesses. This was going to be food given to kids and the elderly. You got to love Republicans. They say that they're pro-life. Let's get the birth rate up, yay. But then they continue to cut food programs. They continue to cut free lunches. You got to love these pro-life people, yay. Anyways, let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.